Zenless Zone Zero was released like what, 3 weeks, almost a month ago, and since its launch, it has been a very, very tumultuous release. Like it's been a very mixed bag. You know, people have people have said no, they like this game, give it a shot, and then on the other side, people are saying that this game is the reason why their girlfriend fucked their dog. It's a very mixed bag with this game. So for me, the reason why I wanted to make this video earlier, but because of the whole mix, like people like really like the whole mixed reviews, people being like, oh, this game's shit, the game's good. I really wanted to play it, give it a good chance, see what it is. So when I do make this video, I didn't want to feel like I was talking out of my ass. And I'm probably still gonna come across that way to some people. It is what it is. And if you don't like the game, it is what it is. If you don't like it, you don't like it. This game might not be your cup of tea, which to each their own. But if you're gonna say that this game is objectively bad, then you have to have objective reasons for saying that this game is objectively bad. Right? You not liking the game is not an objective reason for the game being bad, right? If you don't like the game, you don't like the game. But just because you don't like the game doesn't mean the game is bad, right? It is what it is, right? So a lot of people. So I really want to give this game a chance and see what it's up about. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm enjoying the fuck out of this game. I'm liking it. I'm liking the game quite a lot. The game has its flaws, obviously, like everything does, right? I think right now for me, the biggest thing with Zenless Zone Zero is the story. I'm gonna be honest, the story is quite a snooze fest. But I think that's just typical 1.0 gacha release. World building happens in almost all gachas. Well, I'm not gonna say almost all. The only gacha games I've played is fucking Hoiverse games and like Wuthering Waves, so I'm not gonna make that blanket statement. But at least for the gachas I played, that's just how it is. 1.0 stories, world building, story is very slow. But I feel like for Zenless Zone Zero, the story feels a lot slower than other gachas because of the fucking TVs. The TVs, I won't lie, the TVs make me want to drag my balls against a bed of nails. I fucking hate the TVs. The TVs, it's the TVs. The TVs are so tedious, and it's like they don't need to exist. I feel like they didn't playtest the game for the fact that the TVs exist. I don't know who at Hoiverse thought when going through the TVs, they're like, this is immersive, this is fun. It isn't. That game, the TVs fucking suck. And I feel like the TV should only be like, if they really want to keep the TVs, because obviously they're not going to just take it out. If they really need to keep the TVs, I feel like the TV should only be sectioned off to like the exploration part of like the commissions and like the side quests. Like there's the story, the combat, and then there's the exploration. I feel like the TVs should only be put there. And when it comes to like the story and the combat, I feel like it should be like an arena combat or arena combat based situation where you just go from one arena to the next as you're going through the level, and then you just fight the mobs there. I feel like that would be a little bit better. Maybe not the best solution, but I feel like that'd be better than the TVs. But yeah, I feel like that's right now. I think like that's the biggest problem with Zenless Zone Zero. And then like, there are some other good things about this game as well. Like I think, for example, the combat. I feel like that might be a hot take. I don't know why that would be. I do think the combat in this game is, I do think people are kind of overhating on the combat. I think the combat is better than people give it credit for. Obviously, I don't think it's like the sweatiest of shit. Like I don't think it has anything crazy like Wuthering Waves. But I do think the combat, I do think it's very good because to compare it to Genshin, right? I'm gonna compare it to Genshin because I do think Zenless Zone Zero and Genshin do have similar problems when it comes to the mob AI, whereas they just stack a bunch of HP and the mobs don't really attack as much. Actually, no. I will say this. No, the mobs do attack more in Zenless Zone Zero than Genshin, at least from what I've noticed. They do attack. The mobs are a little bit more aggressive in Zenless Zone Zero than in Genshin, but the HP is still a problem in this game as it is for Genshin. But it doesn't feel as bad as Genshin's because at least with this game, right? This game, like Genshin, doesn't have a stun lock, it doesn't have a dodge counter, it doesn't have a perfect dodge, it doesn't have a lot of things, which is why the combat feels very lackluster in Genshin, right? Whereas in Zenless Zone Zero, the HP, at least for right now, right? I'm sure maybe when we get later to like the end game where you're at the point now where you have nothing to do other than farm relics or what are the tapes, whatever the fuck they're called, the discs, we're at the point where we have nothing to do except that, then yeah, then maybe the holes will start to, the cracks will start to show a little bit more. But as for right now, Like the HP is not too big of an issue because you know you have the dodge counter, you have the perfect dodge, you have the assists, and honestly, this is something that I like about Zenless Zone Zero that Genshin doesn't have, and that is the instant switching of your characters, and like how seamless it is, and how like the intro skill and all that, right? Because with Genshin, bro, you try to switch characters, something will prevent you from doing it, and then sometimes the game won't even let you switch characters because fuck you, that's why. Like Genshin has like this, it has a lot of problems with that. The Zenless Zone Zero is not really the case, so it feels a lot more fluid, it feels a lot better. And then when you have the character switches, right, when you switch character to block an attack, that feels a lot more engaging, right? Because you have an enemy that's like an attack, you switch the character, and it lets you sort of manipulate the enemy in a way so that way you can still control their movement, right? Which is you block their attack with the character switch, right? And it makes it a lot more seamless, it makes it a lot more fluid, it makes it a little bit more enjoyable, which Genshin doesn't have. And that's the biggest problem with Genshin, right? Now Wuthering Waves kind of does the same thing with the intro and outro skills, right? They do that as well in Wuthering Waves. And that's why I feel like the combat in Zenless, while it's not better than Wuthering Waves, I do think it is enjoyable. It has its own merits. It does things that Wuthering Waves doesn't, right? I think Zenless Zone Zero's combat is a lot more flashy. Like it looks a lot better. The dynamic camera angles when you switch your character and you do the perfect dodge, and then you do the character switch cancel, right, for the like the wide attack that the enemies do. I do think the game is a lot more flashy, which makes it a lot better in the moment. It makes it a lot more enjoyable in the moment, right? I do think Zenless Zero excels in, you know, really flashing colors in your face to ignite some part of your brain to make it a lot more engaging, right? I do think Zenless Zone Zero is really good at that. Right, that makes the combat a little bit more enjoyable, right? It gives it a little something, adds a little something to it, right? Whereas, you know, with Genshin, right, you're just doing the same rotation every time, same thing until the HP is gone, right? Whereas with Zenless, right, even though the HP problem is still kind of there, where the enemies have a certain amount of HP, you tend to not stare at the HP bar as much because you have other things you need to look at. Whereas with Genshin, you kind of literally just stare at the HP because nothing's a threat to you, right? Or the most important thing is the HP, right? Whereas in Zenless, that's not really the case, right? You have other things you need to worry about, whether or not you're gonna dodge the attack, your character switch, you know, sometimes your bang boo, your little aide, the little fucking turd that's following you around, sometimes you need to watch what they're doing to see if you can grab whatever they're gonna throw at you, right? You know, there's a lot more stuff that's happening on the screen in the combat with Zenless Zone Zero, which makes it a lot more enjoyable, you know what I mean? But yeah, I like the combat in this game. Is it the best? No. Is it better than Wuthering Waves? I think people could debate, but I think no. I think Wuthering Waves is still Wuthering Waves combat is still better than Zenless Zone Zero because it has a level of depth that Zenless Zone Zero doesn't. But I feel like for the audience that Zenless Zone Zero, you know, is attracting, I don't think that level of depth is needed. I'm gonna be real. I feel like more people, I think the game is more directed towards casuals, whereas Wuthering Waves, obviously casuals can play it, but it does have its own section where if you're like a hardcore sweat and you want to bang your head against the wall, I feel like Wuthering Waves is more your tailor. But and I know like in Zenless, it's, you know, it's advertising that like, oh, like this game has a challenge mode, it's for hardcore players, but you have to understand this is a Hoyoverse. Like hardcore to Hoyoverse are like people that play, like hardcore to Hoyoverse is like people that play The Sims modded instead of Animal Crossing. Like, you know what I mean? It's like the hardcore is not like the Hoyoverse. Let's put it this way. Hardcore to Hoyoverse, it's a different meaning. It's not like hardcore to Hoyoverse is just fighting an enemy with 7 billion HP. That's hardcore to Hoyoverse. That might be a horrible comparison, but that's just what I think, right? It doesn't mean the same to Hoyoverse. So I think you should view Zenless Zone Zero as a much more casual experience. I know that's not what they advertise, but I think that's basically, even though they're advertising hardcore for Hoyoverse, that's basically what they mean. But yeah, that's just, I feel like coming into Zenless Zone Zero with the casual mindset, like, you know, I feel like that would give you a much better experience in my opinion. Like for me, I feel I fully, like for me in Zenless Zone Zero, I've gone full Coomer because the game has gone full Coomer. I'm only going to play women. I'm only going to play big-breasted women. I'm only going to get big-breasted women, and that's how I'm going to play the game. And I feel like that's playing a game with that kind of mindset. Obviously not like only play women, but playing with like a mindset where you're just like I don't care. It's casual. You know, I'm not going to sweat. I'm not gonna you know, cry if I don't get the best, you know, the best equipment. You know, I feel like that might be a little bit better for you. Other things that Zenless Zone Zero is pretty good at is the music. I won't lie, the music is very, very good. I love the music in this game. The music is it's very what's the word I'm looking for? For lack of a better word, I'm just say unique, because it just feels like it feels like a different aesthetic. It's very chill. It's very chill. When you're not in combat. In combat, it's like a little, like, it's like Skrillex mixed with like, I don't know. It's like EDM, right? It's like EDM. I'm trying to find better understandings. I'm trying to convey myself better, but I'm not doing that super well. But the music is very enjoyable. The music is very chill. It's my type of music, honestly. It's music that you would find on like my Spotify, right? That's why I enjoy the music, right? But that's very subjective. That's not an objective thing. That's very subjective. If you don't like the music, it is what it is. I can't give you an objective reason as to why the music's good. I just like it, right? But one thing that this also might be another hot take. One thing I'm like not disappointed by, but I'm not like wowed by is like the character designs, right? Now you have to understand something, right? I'm not saying that the characters look bad, but I'm saying that the characters don't look like unique, right? Let me explain what I mean, right? Let me actually open up here, Zenless Zone Zero. Let me explain what I mean. So for Zenless, right, when I talk about the character designs,
ready for combat.
They look good, right? They look good. I'm not saying they don't look good, but they're because they have to fit the aesthetic of the world.
Don't look down on me.
That brings down the level of creativity of what they can do. Because you have to understand that Genshin is a fantasy world with a bunch of different, you know, regions, bunch of different cultures, bunch of different, you know, things. You have dragons in the world. You have a talking fairy in the game that follows you around. You talk with gods and monsters. The aesthetic of this game is downtown Hong Kong, right? That's the aesthetic of this game. Yes, it's futuristic. It's you know, it's very futuristic, but that doesn't give a lot of creativity because you have to fit the aesthetic, right? Like expensive. let's keep it real. Look at the designs. I forgot her fucking name. Nicole. I was too busy staring at her fucking boobs. Nicole, right? She just has a tank top on and in the shortest of shorts, right? You just got some maids, right? Fucking what's her name?
Yes.
Fucking Grace is just wearing a sports bra, right? The designs aren't that unique. So they make up for that design in the level of Coomer. Like, Jesus Christ, look at Rena's boobs. Like, what the fuck? So they make up for that by sex appeal. I say as I switch to a fucking child. I fucking hate that. There are too many children in this game. So they make up for that in sex appeal by just making the bounciest of tits, the biggest of asses, or the tightest of asses, and then a fucking bear. Right? So like they can't make up for the uniqueness because of the furries. So I guess that could allow them to be a little bit more creative because of all the fucking furries that they have in this game. Like I know damn well this dog got some pussies wet, but that's just what it is. But that's just how I feel about the character designs. The characters themselves look good. They look good, but it's like nothing extraordinary. You know what I mean? It's like it's nothing where they're like, holy fuck, like where do they come up with that? It's just a girl in a maid suit and she has a shark tail. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to be an asshole, but that's just how I feel about the character designs. They're not like damn, like how did they think of this? You know what I mean? It's just made outfits, urban designs, urban clothing, skirts. You know what I mean? But the characters they look good, and they definitely got that sex appeal. But that's just how I feel about the character designs, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that's gonna affect their sales in any way, shape, or form, because at the end of the day, a hot woman is a hot woman. That's still gonna sell. But I just feel like the character designs are, for lack of a better term, just kind of mid. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's just kind of feel overall about the game. I think at the very least you should give the game a try. I can understand why people don't like it, but I don't think it's objectively bad. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think the game is like this game, like I don't think there's one particular reason that everyone can unanimously agree upon that makes the game shit, right? It's just a matter of you like it or you don't. That's kind of just how I feel about Zenless Zone Zero. Would I agree that it's mid? Kind of. Yeah, I can agree that it's mid. I do think that the game is overhated, and yeah, I think the game is definitely overrated. I do think the game does deserve a try. I'm enjoying the fuck out of it. I'm enjoying it. I'm playing the game more. It's probably the game I'm playing the most right now. I'm like jumping between Wuthering Waves and this. I've kind of just stopped playing Genshin. Not completely. I still play it. Not regularly, but I still play it. And then Honkai Star, I won't lie. Ever since I got Firefly, I've just turned that game off. I have not touched that game ever since I got Firefly. I'm gonna be real. But yeah, that's just me. That's just my opinion. I like Zenless Zone Zero. I feel like if you're in the gacha space and you wanted something to try, I do think that the game does deserve a chance. I'm not saying you have to like it, but I do think it's worth it. I think it's worth a try. That's just how I feel. Let me know how you think about it.